afternoon. This is Oak Harbor Mayor Bob Severns. I'd like to welcome you to the special special meeting of the Oak Harbor City Council. Today is Monday, November 22nd, and that meeting was set for 4 p.m. and it is 4 p.m. at this time. So I'll call the meeting to order. Due to COVID-19, this will be both a physical meeting location and a virtual meeting for Washington Proclamation 20-28. Due to Governor Inslee's order, masks are required for everyone in council chambers, regardless of vaccination status. City staff are participating via teleconference. Guests, if any, that are included in staff presentations will be excused from the Ring Central meeting at the conclusion of the agenda item as appropriate. Today's meeting may be viewed live via YouTube and on cable channel 10 HD 1090. At this time, I'd like to ask our city clerk, Julie Lindsay, to please call our roll for today. Julie?
Thank you, Mayor. Mayor Pro Tem Munns.
Present.
Councilmember Heisen. I saw her. Yep.
Are you
Councilmember
with us?
Heisen.
Can't hear?
She is present, Mayor, but she's having difficulty hearing us.
I can't hear her either.
Nobody can hear me now?
I can hear you, Mayor. We can't hear Julie.
I can
Okay.
hear you, Mayor.
All right. Can you hear me now?
So we need to check Julie's sound.
My mic is on. One moment.
Mikhail's
while
going to
we
walk
check.
in and see if we can
Okay, great.
figure out what's going on.
Yes, that'd be great. We'll leave it with Sabrina.
Say something, Julie?
Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? We could hear me a few minutes ago.
Do you want to move to somebody else's mic?
Do I need a different mic, Tim? This one says it's on.
Will you say something?
Julie, we can hear
Present.
you now.
There you go.
There we go. Can we hear us now?
Hello?
Yes.
Mayor, can you hear me? This is Julie.
Yes, I can now.
Very good. Thank you, Mayor. We'll continue with the roll. We had already confirmed Mayor Pro Tem Munns. Councilmember Heisen had indicated.
Present.
Very good. Councilmember Wiesner. I know he is in the meeting. Councilmember Wiesner. He may be having trouble with his connection, Mayor. Councilmember Goebel.
Present.
Mayor, we have 4 of 7 council members present. Council members Servadius, Wassinger, and Mack have asked to be excused.
Okay. So councilors, council member Mack, Wassinger, and Servadius have requested to be excused. I will entertain a motion to excuse them at this time.
Mayor, I'll make the motion. I move that we
Okay, Mayor
excuse.
Pro Tem.
Thank you. I move we excuse Councilman Servadius, Councilman Wassinger, and Councilman Mack for this special meeting. Second.
Okay, we have a motion to excuse Councilor Servadius, Councilor Wassinger, and Councilor Mack. The motion was made by Mayor Pro Tem, and I believe the second was made by Councilor Goebel. All in favor, please signify by raising your hand.
Thank you, Mayor. That appears to be unanimous.
Okay,
Mayor?
so they are excused. Thank you.
Mayor,
So, yes,
City Administrator Oborn, I have an email or text message from Wiesner. He's trying to log in. So if Julie or Sabrina could help him.
Thank you, Blaine. He was logged in a moment ago. He must have lost the connection.
Yeah. Yeah, he said he has, he texted me and said he's having trouble logging in.
Yeah, my Ring Central updated, and it took me a while. It was an ordeal to get logged in.
Yes, apparently they have a new format.
Okay, so I'm holding now until we verify that we have Counselor Wiesner.
Julie, could he just call in by phone like I did if someone texted him and gave them that number? Because we've sort of done the public comment already.
So is somebody helping him?
I'm working on sending him the call-in information.
Yeah, he thinks the meeting number might be incorrect.
I just emailed him the call-in number.
Okay. So I guess I will at least start by saying that we have two ordinances to reopen the public hearings for. And the first one is ordinance number 1939, budget amendment regarding the American Rescue Plan Act funding. So I would like to reopen that public meeting at this time and verify with our city clerk that we have not received any public comments, or if we have, we need those read at this time.
Thank you, Mayor. We received no public comment on this item.
Okay. So hopefully we'll get Councilor Wiesner on. Well, I guess I'll go ahead and close that public hearing. And I don't know whether council, since they just looked at both of these ordinances last Friday at 4 o'clock, I would ask for your, if there's any questions about either of these, or, well, let's take one at a time. Is there any questions about this budget amendment request? Councilor Heisen.
Thank you, Mayor. This is a question for Dave Goldman, and Councilmember Wiesner might be able to confirm when he gets on. But included in this funding is the remote ground deployable vehicle for the police department, and I've got that one on my notes as one of the things that we flagged for more information or that we weren't quite sure about. So unless I missed something.
Yeah, the police department submitted the additional information to the subcommittee. It was attached to the workshop item.
Right.
So you're saying maybe this shouldn't have been, because we can approve this with a condition to take this off the amendment.
That would be my preference.
Or we could have, I think, Chief Dresker might be on the call. He can maybe provide some more information on it if that's your will.
Okay, I just, that's a big ticket item, and I'm just thinking ahead, thinking if we want to allocate that amount of money, we might end up needing it for hiring bonuses or something in the future. So,
Okay.
I remember we kind of kicked that around and asked for more info, but that just that one, and I'm sorry to complicate things, but just that one particular line item, I would prefer that we pull that for today, unless everybody else feels differently about it.
So if I could make a quick comment.
Yeah, go ahead, Chief.
So yeah, we wouldn't reallocate that for anything like hiring bonuses or anything like that. This is our one opportunity to utilize money that we would have available to purchase that item, which can be utilized in a standoff fashion for a variety of things, whether it be rescue, hazmat, checking to see if somebody's health is okay, to shooting to check. Let's say if it's suicidal and we hear a shot in the house, we can send that in to check rather than sending officers in initially. So it's a very valuable item. This is probably our only chance to get it with this kind of money. I would encourage you to keep it.
Well, I will defer to my fellow council members on that item. Thank you.
So, do we have Councilor Wiesner yet?
Yes, Mayor, we do.
Oh, sorry for the confusion there, Councilor Wiesner. It's nice to have you. We are discussing the budget amendment ordinance 1939 at this point. And Councilor Heisen had raised a question about the police department, one particular item, and Chief Dresker was just explaining that. And I guess there was some information in the packet that was attached to this packet. I'm not one to put you on the spot, but do you recall that item?
Yes, I do. Yes, I do.
Okay. Do you have questions? And what would be if we take that off of this list today, then that we don't have an opportunity again until, is that next year? How does that work, Mr. Goldman?
Yeah, the next available budget amendment, because of the notification requirement, it would be real tight to do it on December 14th. Probably January or February would probably be the target for that.
Okay.
I guess my question there would be, is there any time restraints on the Chief Dresker's end that requires that funding to be in place prior to the first of the year?
I don't know that that's the case. My fear is losing it into the quagmire of what goes on. I mean, I think I have that. I have 30,000 for pistol optics, 8,000 for an HRIT vest, I think, are my asks. I would actually rather lose the 30,000 from the HRIT or from the pistol optics, but we're not going to purchase it before the first of the year. So certainly we can look at it later on if that's what you, as a majority of council, chooses to do. I just, I didn't put in for tons. What I thought was important, and that was one of the items.
Mayor, can I continue?
Yes, go right ahead.
Well, thanks for that, Chief Dresker, and thanks for everybody's patience me coming on the backside. I don't think, Chief Dresker, it's a matter of getting lost in the quagmire. I think what we've got going on here is we're trying to be expeditious in getting some of this ARPA funding off the ground, because there are a couple of positions that we're trying to fill that are time sensitive, and we're trying to deal with those time sensitive issues. And on top of that, we've kind of put in some of the items we felt as though would be kind of least objectionable to the rest of the council, and added those on to those time sensitive items. And I think what our intention as an ARPA committee is, if we have another meeting tomorrow, we'll first look at the items that have been pulled off of this initial list, which includes some people in engineer or a economic development coordinator, as well as there were some generators and some other things we pulled off this list. And we're doing it to try and get the first list moved forward quickly. And then we're going to revisit the items that are getting pulled off to make sure that we're addressing the rest of the council's questions and concerns and not getting everything else wrapped up in the quagmire. And then we're going to move on to some additional items. So I guess from my standpoint, as far as one of the ARPA committee members, I don't think our intentions are to leave your requests in any quagmire. It's just a matter of trying to expeditiously get this first round moving forward so we can fill those slots that are time sensitive and not get wrapped up in items that the rest of the council have concerns in. Does that make sense?
Yes, I think it does to me. I see Councillor Heisen has her hand back up. Did you have additional questions or concerns or?
Yes.
Go ahead, Councillor Heisen.
Thank you. Sorry, Jim, I didn't mean to cut you off there. Thank you. Yeah, no, I just wanted to pull that because we asked for more information, and I do appreciate that it was in the packet. We just hadn't had a chance to discuss it yet. But hearing directly from the chief about how he would prioritize that particular item, if it is a priority, and obviously all of the items have been vetted and prioritized. If Chief, if you feel strongly about it, then I'll take your word for it, and I'm okay. I'm okay including it on the list for today if my fellow council members are fine with that. So yeah, I just had some questions. That's all. So I could go either way on this one.
Thank you, Councillor Heisen. Does anyone else have any other questions?
Yes,
at this
Mayor.
point?
Councilmember Goebel has her hand raised.
Councillor Goebel? Go ahead.
Thank you, Mayor. I have two questions. My first one, I'm just kind of seeking clarification on the item for PPE for staff, city council, and community visitors at city facilities for $100,000. I was just kind of curious what that includes. If Blaine could maybe elaborate on that. Just kind of curious what that includes.
Okay, so I am having a hard time hearing. So,
do you want me to restate my question? I can restate my question. It's the item for PPE for staff, city council, and community visitors at city council or at city facilities. It's for $100,000. I was just curious what that includes. If Administrator Oborn could comment on that, please.
Can you help with that, Mr. Goldman?
Yeah, okay, so I think what I heard was there was a question about the $100,000 PPE item. So that item is a not to exceed amount to cover purchases of personal protective equipment such as masks and gloves and other items for staff, for all the staff, for city council and any visitors who come to city facilities. And that amount is for the next 3 years until the end of 2024.
Okay. Thank you for clarifying. I guess my initial reaction is I don't know if $100,000 for 3 years worth of purchasing masks is a little excessive. If we could move some of that somewhere else, I don't know. I just saw that and I was kind of curious maybe there's other places that it could go, but I haven't really been as involved with this as Councilmember Heisen and Wiesner, so they might have other, perspective that I don't. And my other question was about the fire lieutenant for the amount of $351,732. I know that the fire department is interested in possibly running an excess levy in the future. And so I don't know, Chief Merrill, and I could totally be speaking out of turn, and I apologize, but I was just curious, in the event that that levy passed, would that position be funded with the levy, or would it continue to be funded through the American Rescue Plan? So just a question about that. Thank you.
Okay, well, I think I heard that there was a question about how to fund that additional fire lieutenant if the excess levy doesn't pass. It would just be funded through the general fund. It would just have to utilize the general revenues that come into the city's coffers to fund those costs after the end of 2024.
My question was if it didn't pass, or if it did pass, if the excess levy did pass, would that be included in the excess levy? And so I guess I'm more curious, like, if the excess levy passed, would that then free up some of this $351,000 for other uses in the future?
Yes. If the excess levy passes, then yes, this money would be freed up. Our plan is to revisit this list on a periodic basis. So, for example, the $100,000 for PPE, as we go through the years, if we find that, for example, the first year $10,000, then we would revisit that and adjust that downward to match what we think we're going to be spending through the end of 2024. It's kind of a dynamic list. Once we get the authority from City Council to go ahead with certain projects and initiatives, we would continually monitor them in our accounting system, which we have to anyway, to report on this grant, which will be audited by the state auditor. And then we could also use that opportunity, since we're tracking the funds, to report back to the subcommittee and the full City Council at workshops the status of the different projects and how much funding we think will be able to be freed up to utilize on different projects and initiatives over time.
Thank you.
Councilor Goebel, are you with us? Hello?
Mayor Pro Tem Bunce has her hand
Can
raised.
anybody hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay.
I can hear you.
So I guess have we lost Councilor
No,
Goebel?
no, she's right here, Mayor.
Their mic's on like
she
they're
said thank you.
talking, but okay, I'm gonna go check.
My questions were answered. I don't have any other comments.
She's in the council chambers up.
Yes, Mayor, she is. And Mayor Pro Tem Munz has her hand raised.
Hey, Mayor, could I make a quick comment?
Well, I can hear you. Sure, go ahead.
However you guys go tonight, Councilman Heisen, however you guys do it, I'd be happy to, if you'd like, meet with you and let you know exactly what a robot, what the land deployable vehicle would be used for, and some of the purposes. However you guys deal with it, just so you're more familiar with it, I'd be happy to do that at some point if you'd like. Just let me know.
Mayor?
Good. That sounds good.
Mayor? Try
Hello.
speaking.
Mayor, can I say something?
Yes.
Thanks. I wanted to say that I'm excited about this addition of the police department, and I would love to have a demonstration once they've procured it. It's a safety measure, as he said, that can be used in so many different ways, and this is an opportunity to acquire, there's parameters that you have to fit, and so this is one way to get an expensive piece of safety equipment now. whereas I'm not sure it could be used for bonuses. So I would go for the equipment that we're going to have from now on, whenever it is. But I would love to have a demonstration to show staff, including council, how it works once you get it in and you figure it out, Chief.
We'd be happy to do that. Maybe we would take some cat food to Councilman Heisen's cat.
Okay. If no one else has questions, I'll be happy to make the motion.
So do we have Councilor Goebel back?
Mayor, I'm in chambers.
Okay, great. Do you have,
Hey, Mayor.
I was just wondering if her questions got answered.
Yes, thank you. They did.
Great.
Mayor?
I see, yes, Don?
Yes, sir. So, just if I can, speak to that PPE just briefly, hit a little bit. So Sandra Place is the linchpin in that whole thing. And so she went through the entire public works and identified all of the PPE materials that we buy on a very consistent basis. And because of the disposable nature of most of that PPE, buying it for 3 or 4 years, it is not inconceivable that Public Works would spend $100,000 because so much of that you wear it once and then you dispose of it, and it's not necessarily cheap. For example, a stick resistant gloves that you use when you're policing trash, those last a day, and if you get a stick in them, then you've got to get newer gloves before those, and those things are like $4 or $5 a pair sometimes. So yeah, Sandra could definitely speak more directly to it, but just if Sandra Place been here as long as she has, if she says that's the number, I'd take it to the bank.
Thank you,
Okay,
Don.
thank you, Mr. Crawford.
Thank you, Don. That definitely provides a little bit more clarity and insight about that figure. So I appreciate that information.
So, other questions? So how would the council like to proceed then?
Mayor, Councilmember Heisen's hand is raised.
Councilor Heisen.
I don't think.
Thank you, Mayor. Sorry, it takes a second to unmute myself with the new layout. I move to adopt ordinance number 1939.
Second.
Okay. We have a motion to adopt ordinance 1939. And that motion was made by Councilor Heisen, second by Mayor Pro Tem Munn. Any other additions or corrections or questions? Seeing none, all in favor, raise your hand.
Aye.
Mayor, that is unanimous.
Okay, that passes unanimously. Thank you. I should have remembered that saying aye is important to Councilor Wiesner. Okay. Thank you. We will move on to the last item, which is the second ordinance, number 1940, setting the property tax levies for 2022 per RCW 8452020 and RCW 8452070. I'd like to reopen that public hearing at this time and ask our city clerk if we've heard of any public comments from our public.
Thank you, Mayor. We received no comments from the public.
Thank you, Julie. We will then close the public hearing and turn to council for questions.
Mayor Pro Tem Munn has her hand raised.
Great. Mayor Pro Tem, go ahead.
Thank you, Mayor. It's not a question. I just think as much as we hate to raise anybody's taxes, especially our own, because we're part of the city, it's just important that we do it because we're already behind inflation and we never seem to catch up. And this little bit seems to help out with being able to pay our bills and hopefully be able to afford more police and fire and any other staff members that we need. But hopefully we will vote to do this.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. Any other?
Are there any other comments or questions? No?
I don't. Not seeing any.
Okay. I'll make the motion then. I move to adopt ordinance number 1940 to increase property tax levy by 1%.
Second.
Okay, so the motion was made to adopt ordinance 1940. It's actually like the recommended action in the packet. Did I hear correctly now? That motion was made by Councilor Goebel?
Yes.
And the second was made by Mayor Pro Tem Munns, correct?
That's correct, Mayor.
Okay, good. I'm not hearing very well today for some reason, but good. We have a motion and second. Any other input or questions? All in favor signify by raising your hand or saying aye.
Aye.
Mayor, that carries unanimously.
Okay, that carries unanimously. So I can't thank you enough, Council, for your patience and your work and your ability to come back together today. Thank you. We have no other items on our agenda, so I would entertain a motion at this time to adjourn.
I move we adjourn, Mayor.
Mayor, I move to adjourn.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, that I'm all in favor signify by raising your hand or saying aye. And again, thank you. Be safe out there. I think that's passing unanimously. We are adjourned.